having like some kind of like public image or presence, like an artist presence, has always to me seemed odd, because it feels like there's something, like, you can't just do it. You have to have something so important to say that, like, nobody else has been able to say it, or you have to have some perspective on something that no one else has had, and otherwise, if you don't have either of those things, that it's, like, not worth doing. That you may as well just not do anything at all, because it's like, well, someone else has already said this, someone else is already doing this, someone else has done it better. And I understand that, like, part of that too, as a white male presenting person, that there is, like, a certain degree that should be considered of, like, is there a woman or is there a person of color who can say the same thing you're saying and do it better, or is, you know, better suited, has better experiences to express certain things. But I think the issue that I get in with is that, you know, I get so bogged down with some of that it's then, well, don't say anything at all, and it's, well, you know, I do also have, you know, ideas and opinions, experiences, whatever. I think it's just a matter of, like, having the confidence of saying, like, well, is it worth saying? Is it worth telling someone all these things? It's like, is there anyone that necessarily needs to hear it? How important does my idea have to feel to me for me to be willing to share it publicly, whether it's video or writing or art or whatever? Like, is there anything special enough, good enough? Cigarette went out. I don't know what that standard comes from, or like why, like what that standard is. Maybe that's why the idea of doing this way feels better to me, because framing the shot where... So here's a problem I've always had with vlogs. Vlogs are often set in a way where it is framed visually, where you're looking at the person and they're talking to you, and it is set up, and the dialogue is usually edited and done in such a way that it feels like you are having a conversation with the person, where they are engaging with you. And that's weird. That is so weird, because it's like, I don't know that anyone has enough to say to just, like, I want to talk to you directly about this, or, you know, in the way it's framed, talk with you directly about, you know, such and such. Oh, poor raccoon. It's a weird and presumptive feeling, to me, way to approach it. So one of the things I was thinking about today, after filming whatever that weird thing this morning was, the first part of this, I guess, I was thinking more about the idea of, like, art as needing to have, like, a point. And I started thinking about it, like, more as like a product kind of thing. I remember this I guess project or task, or I don't know, whatever. I was in, like, middle school, and we, like, split up into groups and had to do a thing where it's like you have to come up with a product or a service and figure out a way to advertise it. You know, when we were trying to think of, like, products, when we were trying to think of services, it was like, you know, the old find a need and fill it thing. You know, find something that doesn't exist, find a problem and try to solve it. And so thinking about that, and what I was talking about this morning about the idea of, art being like very definitive and like being like this very specific, clear thing that I want to say. And it's like how much of like me being raised here in America and kind of in that capitalist like mindset, of like find a need and fill it, find something that doesn't exist and create it, find a problem and solve it, is like leached into the way I perceive art. Like how much of like my discouragement from like, well, I don't want to make such and such art because I don't have, an important thing to say, or I don't have, a singular thing to express, is actually just, this isn't a product because like it's not filling a need. And I think it's kind of a weird thing to like explore, kind of a fascinating thing to explore, because it's easy to pick out like commercial art, people who do like ad design, or people like Thomas Kincaid, or people who do, commission work or character design for various projects, things like that. And there's nothing inherently wrong. Like if that's what you're doing and that's what you're doing and what you enjoy doing and want to do, no judgment. But then whenever it comes to applying that kind of line of thinking to just, I enjoy making art and I just want to make art for the sake of art, how much of it is corrupted by that mentality of, it needs to fill your work, your art needs to fill a purpose, needs to fill a void. So I don't feel like there's anything inherently I'm trying to make such a big fucking deal out of everything. Why can't I just like do shit without being weird, I want to make this kind of an open-ended project that doesn't really like have a definite meaning or place that it's going to. That's just more or less like, let's see what happens, kind of this like strange examined life like in social media, this sort of like I was thinking earlier this afternoon about like the unmet need thing, and the like do things just for the sake of doing them, don't worry about, commodifying anything, don't worry about making a product out of anything, just do it for the sake of doing it. And it's like, would that be compelling for anyone to see? Could I really like anticipate anyone to engage in that if there wasn't like some, focal point?